Good morning, everyone. It's Thursday morning, and it's also October. It's just amazing that we are now in the month of October. I want to greet everybody and remind everybody that this coming Sunday is World Communion Sunday, and we so encourage you to participate in this spiritual act of affirming our faith in Christ and our love for one another. That, after all, is the meaning of the word communion. It is our common union with one another. And Christ set it up that way. Now, I want to just take a moment and show you a little bit about what's been going on here in months where you've not been able to be here. Well, let me see if I can get this video here. I'm doing this kind of backwards here. If you could see this right here, that is a hand sanitizer we have. I'm at the entryway of the church. And if you look right over here, you'll see that we have a stand here with a thermometer gauge on it to ascertain that nobody has a fever when they come into worship, when we are able to worship again. So let me take you into the sanctuary, show you what that's been looking like lately. All right, here we go. You can see these white markers that are scattered throughout the congregation. I'll walk on down the aisle and show you these things. Here's one of them here. This is labeled seating. It shows you the proper distance that you can be seated safely when you come into congregation. See, we can actually, we have a great capacity in our worship center. Now, what is not going to be true is we're not going to have everybody sit on the last two rows. You're going to have to move a little bit around. But when we are able to worship again, we're probably looking for about a third of our congregation. I'm thinking somewhere between 20 and 25 people who are willing to come in on a Sunday morning. We'll worship at 11 o'clock to about 11:30, and then the radio will play a pre-recorded Sunday school lesson. That way people who are still not able to come and worship in person, of course, you'll be here with masks, we'll be here with hand washing, we'll be here, you see there's no hymnals, there's no bulletins. It's going to be quite different, but then those that are not able to do worship that way are not ready yet to do it, then they will be able to get the entire broadcast because we'll remote broadcast from our worship center. Now let me walk down the aisle here a little bit and show you just a couple of other things. Of course, that lectern won't be there, but it is just temporarily there. Right over here, you might be able to pick out from this video, there is a glass shield placed up there in front of the pulpit. The reason for that is while everybody will be masked during the worship service, that when I am preaching, so everyone will be able to hear me clearly, I will remove my mask behind that shield, and that will protect any kind of airflow that would create particulate matter, so you can be assured of safety in that regard. Now let me show you another thing, and this really now regards our Sundays. Our communion is now changed to this is the company that does this. What we have is these little cups here. If you've not become familiar with these, let me move that just a little bit. There we go. This little cup has a little bit of grape juice in there, and right on the top, there's a sealed little communion wafer. Now, I want everyone to know God cares about our hearts, and the elements themselves are not that critical. What is critical is the attitude that we have toward communion. So you might have supplies around your own home that you want to use in the celebration of communion this coming Sunday or any Sunday that we are still distancing and worshiping separately yet together. So get those things ready so that on Sunday morning, as the world celebrates communion, you'll be able to participate as I lead our congregation that's listening. Now, one thing I'd like to tell you about our congregation, Our congregation is actually probably bigger than it's ever been right now. 2 weeks ago, 2 more bands of radio were added to the broadcast capabilities. So right now we're on 4 bands, 2 AM and 2 FM bands of radio. The addition of the FM bands have increased the potential listening audience probably tenfold. That doesn't mean we have 10 times more listeners. What it means is that the potential audience has grown. I do not know how to tell you how many people are listening. I can tell you that every week I hear stories of people who have tuned in who I did not know about. Last week, for example, I got a lovely message following the service from someone who lives in Greensboro. Now, never before in Greensboro have they been able to hear the broadcast, but now they can. And she had lost her husband some time back, and she wrote and said how meaningful that the message from Job was for her. I don't know how we are going to exactly calculate the impact that this has had on people. We may not ever know sufficiently how many people are being reached. It does cost our church a little bit more. It's about now $100 a week, or will eventually cost us $100 a week to do every broadcast. But for that $100 a week, many people are hearing the worship service, which I like to think is a little bit different than a lot of televised and radio worship services they might have heard. I like to think that the quality and the content is better because we are an actual church who have been meeting together for almost 200 years. And because of that, because of who we are, it is a place where people can find sustenance for their soul in a deeper way. I've had at least one person who's contacted me and says he wants to be baptized. As soon as this is completed, he wants to be baptized. We are probably, through this medium, including more people than ever before. But the key to that is you. The key to it is calling your neighbor up and inviting them to be a participant in our Sunday morning worship. Please take to them a piece of or one of the sanitary, or as many as they need, the sanitary communions. Take to them the Nurturing Faith magazine. We have those available in the bin right outside the door. Come by, drop off a donation for the church or for Hands of God, but then take something with you. Take one of those or 2 of those magazines and put them in the hands of someone you love and say, hey, I know you can't go to church this Sunday, but you could be part of church this Sunday. So I love you, and I invite you this week to go and be the evangelist to someone you love. You might just even need to drop it in the mail to them. And that's okay too, just as long as they know that you're thinking about them. Hey, I want you to know I'm making it. These have been hard days. And people have been real good and supportive of me. And I'm functioning, and I'm going to be okay. But continue to please pray for me and pray for so many others. This has been a sad time for more than just me. But through this, God's going to teach us something. And we're going to be stronger, and we're going to help other people to find their way. So let us be the church. Let us be the witnesses of Jesus Christ's love every day. Keep on keeping on. I love you, and I hope you'll be listening on Sunday morning.